Deze week portret van een taboe. Het doen en laten van de machtige Israël-lobby in de Verenigde Staten. Twee gerenommeerde conservatieve Amerikaanse politicologen, Steve Walt en John Mearsheimer, schreven in 2006 een artikel over de invloed van de Israël-lobby op de Amerikaanse buitenlandse politiek.
Yeah, so you can see it came out March 23rd, 2006. And then the title. I believe that the Harvard version has been downloaded over 350,000 times. Well, the United States supports Israel in a variety of ways. We give them all sorts of military and economic support, roughly $3 billion a year. Israel, despite the fact it is a relatively rich country, receives more foreign aid than any other country in the world. We veto resolutions in the United Nations all the time that are critical of Israel.
Ceux qui sont contre, 14 voix pour, une voix contre. Le projet de résolution n'est pas adopté par suite du vote négatif d'un membre permanent du Conseil.
Those against?
Those against? Ceux qui sont contre.
And the United States is actually talking about using military force against Iran. Now the question is, why is the United States so deeply concerned about Iran acquiring nuclear weapons? The reason it is that big a deal at this point in time is because of pressure from the lobby. The article basically says that inside the United States there is a powerful interest group that is deeply committed to shaping American foreign policy in ways that work to the benefit of Israel. And second, the article argues that the policies that the United States ends up pursuing in the Middle East, because of the lobby's force in the decision-making process, are not in the American national interest.
Troops out now! Stop the war! Troops out now! Stop the war!
Message on to them. A free, prosperous, and secure Israel is in this nation's national interests.
In deze tijden van grote politieke onzekerheid in de Verenigde Staten en de naderende nederlaag in het Irak-moeras heeft dit artikel veel stof doen opwaaien. En zijn democraat en republikein, Amerikaan en Israëli, Jood en christen, isolationist en interventionist over elkaar heen gevallen.
The scholarship is appalling in this piece.
Richard Perle was tot 2004 adviseur van de regering Bush op defensiegebied. Daarnaast adviseerde hij de voormalige Israëlische minister-president Benjamin Netanyahu.
The notion that some people sitting in Jerusalem are pulling the strings on institutions that are somehow divorced from a sense of what is in the American interest and working instead for Israel. There's just no evidence to support that. I'm really surprised that they didn't seek to protect their reputations by doing really watertight, rigorous research that they could defend. And in fact, they've been demolished. Alan Dershowitz is, I mean, there's nothing left after.
So why did they go on
I don't know why they did this. I don't know.
Some of the things they say in that piece really made me wince because Mearsheimer and Walt both are better academics than that report reflects.
Lawrence Wilkerson meldde zich vrijwillig aan om in Vietnam te gaan vechten. Zijn vader was piloot in de Tweede Wereldoorlog en zijn zoon dient nu in de luchtmacht. Wilkerson was van 2000 tot 2005 stafchef van Colin Powell.
But it does shed some light on a number of aspects, the most important of which is that we don't debate this issue in America. You know, you can't talk about this in America. That's the most important thing they did. The second thing they did was call into question, post-Cold War, the strategic value of Israel to America.
10 years ago, you couldn't even talk about the Israel lobby. Today, we can, we do. It's explosive, it's controversial, but we do.
Tony Judd werd net na de Tweede Wereldoorlog geboren in Engeland als kind van Europese Joden. In de jaren 60 werkte hij in een kibbutz en voor het Israëlische leger. Hij vindt dat de geloofwaardigheid van de Israëlische staat steeds verder afneemt.
I wrote an article for the New York Times at the time of the Mearsheimer Walt essay came out, in which an op-ed. And they asked me for this, and I said, you should have written about the Mearsheimer Walt. They had not said anything. And they agreed, which was already a change. But they insisted that somewhere in the article I identify myself as a Jew, because this would give them protection. Controversial article about the Israel lobby. Yes, but he's Jewish, it's okay. That's where we are.
It's not fun to be called an anti-Semite. It's not fun to be told that your scholarship is shoddy. And it's not fun to be pounded day after day and to see very few people standing up in your defense. But again, we knew that was coming. We knew that was the price of writing the article.
They're right, but they're wrong. Now, they're right from a strictly geopolitical, geostrategic point of view. That is to say, what I spent my life studying. Israel no longer provides the United States a strategic value like it did during the Cold War. Not only that, Israel is a strategic burden on the United States. That's a big difference from Cold War days. At the same time, the fuller, more comprehensive strategist in me says that doesn't matter because the connections between America and Israel are so great and so strong that geostrategy, political strategy, whatever you want, grand strategy, is of no consequence here. You actually take that psychological component up to the level of grand strategy, and you say, America can't get out of this even if it wanted to. So, Mr. Walt, Mr. Mearsheimer, you may be technically right, but you are pragmatically wrong because America simply cannot say, Israel, you're on your own. It just wouldn't work. And one of the reasons it wouldn't work is because we have a very powerful Jewish lobby in America.